Squishies! Welcome back to another vlog. This is Ka-Blam. I don't really know the episode number, but I was told to watch the one where the back of the comic book says "My Real Best Friend," and that's one I watched. Apparently the episode numbering is a little controversial, so okay. Before I start, as you may have noticed over the last couple of videos, I've changed how I appear in these. That's because I'm in the process of practicing changing how I appear generally. And I figured these videos would be a good opportunity to do that, the same way that I've been using Let's Plays and Replays as a way to practice trying to change how I sound. So, if you want to let me know how you think I'm doing, you can. If you don't have to. But yeah. This was a fun thing. I'm definitely getting a sense of, like, the rhythm of Ka-Blam. It's almost syncopated. Everything lands slightly off where it feels like it should, and that creates an interesting effect. I'm not criticizing, it's not a flaw. It seems to be a deliberate thing, where, like, the rhythms of the humor are not where you expect them to be. I am sort of trained by sketch comedy to expect one of two real forms. The older, more traditional, I guess you would call it, like, pre-Monty Python approach of it's a joke. It builds to a punchline and then, haha, punchline. Or, after Monty Python came in, sketch comedy kind of changed to be, here's a funny situation, we're going to just keep trying to make you laugh throughout. This isn't. Like, probably in my opinion, best segment of this one was the Life with Loopy segment. I really enjoyed that one, but it was one sustained joke that was kind of telegraphed pretty early on, that the boy who narrates, I don't remember his name, didn't realize that Loopy really just wanted his attention, and that everything else that happened in the episode was her desire for his attention. At the end of the episode, he still hasn't learned that. But it's still, like, a sweet story. It's got some really cute, funny moments in it. The fact that Loopy wants to play cannibal cheerleaders is such a little girl thing. It reminded me of the time my niece put a tutu on a toy car. You know, she took a tutu off a Barbie doll and put it on a toy car, and that made total sense to her, and frankly, it makes total sense to me. And then she declared it to be a rocket ballerina car. Because of course it was. Why wouldn't it be? That's the great thing about being young and not having learned limits yet, is you can cross them freely and with impunity. And I feel like, to a large extent, that's what Ka-Blam is trying to be about, is this joyful crossing of limits. I've written a lot in various different contexts, but probably most in regards to my writing about Batman the Animated Series. There's a long history of literature and critical analysis of the grotesque, and the way that distortions of the human form are used to represent the transgression of social boundaries. And that can be horrific or it can be playful. And I think in Ka-Blam we're seeing the playful side of that, you know? The weird style of the interstitial segments. They are grotesque because they cross the boundaries of the comic page. They can jump in and out of it, wander it freely, turn the pages for themselves. The very title, Ka-Blam, is the sound of a gunshot or an explosion. It's the sound of something shatteringly destructive. And it just... That's what it's doing, but in a playful way. In a, let's, cross over these boundaries and see what humor happens. That's why it's pushing boundaries, I think, of what cartoons are. Things like I'm in love with the art style of Life with Luby. I don't even know what to call it. It's like puppets, but their faces are animated. I don't think their faces... I don't know if it's using stop motion or some kind of, matte technique. I don't know if it's... They've got lots of different faces that they swap in and out between frames, or if their faces are actually blank and they're recording the puppetry and then animating on top of it. I could see either being the case based on how it looks, because the faces are so flat physically. But it's this amazing puppetry animation combination that I've never seen in anything before. The way that the robot in this one moved was just in itself so entertaining. Almost like that Muppety kind of walk, but it was doing it constantly, just like it was full of this agitation, this nervous energy. And it was trying to, break through boundaries. It was trying to, be a revolutionary, except it was, wanting to conquer and enslave, as opposed to liberate. So it was more like a rising populist dictator than a genuine revolutionary. And that, and they defeated it with this metal music that from the fact that it was calling someone names. Now it's a kids show, so it was calling them a goober, but that Australian, I think, accent, or New Zealand, that area, and the fact that it was just about insulting someone, that was punk. That was G-rated punk. And I said metal. It's not. It's punk. It was relatively hard instrumentals, but punk does that. So that was... that's what punk is entirely about, is a giant fuck you to social limitations, The punk style of dress is all about, doing things to your hair that normal human hair doesn't do. That's a form of grotesque art. And that's what punk music is trying to evoke, that scene. The use of punk, if I remember correctly, punk is the origin of moshing, and the use of this kind of contained violence as a form of celebration. It's a very carnivalesque kind of a thing, and the aesthetic of carnival is the grotesque. and both are about violating boundaries, going beyond limits, upturning social norms. And so this show, like, without saying anything particularly subversive, is doing these incredibly subversive things, which I love. I can really start to see why this had the popularity and appeal that it did, and why my backer was so eager for me to start watching it. I'm starting to get it now. Yeah. I'm trying to think, other than that Life with Loopy segment, which really stuck out to me, I'm liking Prometheus and Bob, which again has that, the low, the primitive caveman, constantly, without even realizing it, getting the best of the, supposedly advanced, sophisticated alien, in the violation of the attempted student-teacher relationship, and the fact that the monkey inevitably gets the better of both, at least after the in the course of the segments I saw, particularly the art segment. I really liked the monkey, like, having this amazing painting. That's the same thing. It's that we've established a clear hierarchy that we all know of, like, civilized intelligent being, uncivilized intelligent being, animal, and this show flips it over. It reminds us that that's a completely arbitrary hierarchy based on, our own position as civilized intelligent beings. We self-servingly have decided that those go above quote-unquote uncivilized, and then those above animals. That's a completely self-serving hierarchy, and it's a reminder of that. It's a reminder that that's something we've constructed, and it can be taken down, if we want it to be, or possibly against our wills. So I really enjoyed that. The fact that the mayor is the villain in Action Squad Now, I think it's called. Like, they all kind of feed into that. The only one that really doesn't is the one that I still am kind of meh on, which is... I can't even remember the name of it, but it's the one with the people in the house, and the one guy buys a scorpion to guard his room. Like, I don't know, that just left me flat. Again. Last time it was something in Sniz, I think. That segment just continues to leave me flat. It just feels like a fairly traditional, not very good cartoon. Like a C-list Woody Woodpecker segment. Something like that. But, I mean, even that wasn't enough to, like, detract from just overall the enjoyment of the show and this whole, like, carnivalesque atmosphere it's creating. I get it now. And it's just fun. So, yeah. Hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon for early access to videos, gaming videos, essays, and more. Thanks again, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!